The boys are back again. I got my homeboy right next to me this time. We're gonna have fun in here tonight.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
And he can see.
Yes. I'm older than 4 years older.
I have to get my dance on. It's convocation next week. I can't have a dance. I gotta get my dance on. Hold on. Convocation next week. Convocation next week. Woo!
This week.
Convocation. This week. Oh my
This
God.
week.
Oh,
Yeah, you got convocation next
Go
week.
next
somewhere
week,
else.
see what
Somewhere
happened. Yeah.
Hey man, speaking of that, when I was riding back home from Pennsylvania, one of our local radio stations, they have flashback Sundays. They were playing all the songs that our National Youth Choir would sing back in the day, man. I was in the car getting so excited. It was like so fitting for convocation. Songs like Do Not Pass Me By. And oh man, they were crank the songs. I just picture Marcus Johnson up this directing the choir, man. It was a good old days, man.
I was on that choir, and nobody can lip sync as good as me. Nobody.
There was quite a few up there lip syncing. They was all good. No voice.
Hey, how was your weekend, gentlemen? How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. Friday night, went out with the wife and daughter. No, it was Friday evening, Anita. Then Saturday was my lock-in day because I had to preach Sunday. We did go out for a little bit of ice cream later on after that, but preached a dynamic word on Sunday, and man, came back with an excellent Bible discussion on Sunday night. It was a good weekend. Hot, but a good weekend.
Nice.
It wasn't hot. It wasn't hotter than today. Woo! Talk about I don't know about in Jersey, but it was 100, 101, 100.
It was 98, 99 here.
101 here, bro.
As was hotter than yours then.
I don't think you feel after 90. You don't feel a difference. You just die either way.
My weekend, it was babysitting weekend. For the first half, I had EJ. Woo! That's my soccer buddy right there. Yes, he's gonna be. Yes, that's the soccer man right there. And the second half, I had Aria. that's the dramatic queen, right? Princess right there. Yeah. So it was a great weekend. Yeah, I enjoyed my. Plus the message on. I know he wasn't there, but he heard the message. But the pastor, Donna, he preached a message on Sunday. Yes, and plus, go and see the choir. The choir tore that thing up,
and you can hear him.
Really?
Really? Whatever. No.
What about you, man?
My weekend was great. God is good. Again, like you said, it was hot. But we had a great day on Friday. Saturday, I went to my business partner's son. He graduated. He had a graduation party. Nice. And man, he's going to actually be speaking for our district youth at our church in July. And then on Sunday was my daughter's last soccer game for the spring season. Unfortunately, they lost. She played goalie. Man, so I don't understand some coaches. I'm not worried about saying this because the coach I know is not watching this. If you're going to volunteer to coach, then coach. If you're going to do something, if you don't know really what to do, ask for help. It's not a big deal. The parents are on the sideline coaching these kids. While the coach did an A and B squad. The A squad was all their best players.
Okay.
Their B squad was the second half of their players. Now, they're not bad. The problem is that they put two defenders who are slow and kind of scared. And you can't have defenders who are both. Either they can be slow or scared and fast.
I've seen that on many teams.
And my daughter was in goal, and she got plummeted. Just shots. She saved some most of them went through, and I was just like, this is crazy. I told my daughter, only play the first half. I want you running. She played both the whole game in goal.
Oh, wow.
And we were losing 5-0 at halftime. We lost 5-4.
Now, is this high school or club?
No, this is just rec. She's in 7th grade, so it's just recreation. She's gonna do the school team next year come fall.
Well, just don't do what my son did. I know he's not watching, I can tell it. So he played on club as well as his high school. His high school, he's the keeper. For the club, he played forward. There was a game that they were playing.
He forgot.
He forgot what position he was playing.
Goalkeeper.
We were like, Malachi, not the keeper this game.
he going down the wing. He going down the left wing. The ball comes to him, and he won't catch it.
He catches the ball. It was like, you're not the keeper this game. And the parents who knew him were laughing because they're all on the same club cycle together. We were in the stand just cracking up. It was like,
I would have been.
Real quick, try to play it off. No, you on camera now, boy.
Oh man, that's tough.
I'm out.
That's tough.
But he preached on Sunday. He didn't say that though.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes,
he
sir.
didn't say it. That
Yes,
was
sir.
his weekend.
Thank you. Yes, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
But I'm excited about this show tonight.
Yes.
3 men who love talking about the goodness of the Lord. And,
Yes, we do,
and we're not ashamed.
No, we're not. And I would, like I tell every Monday, please, people, subscribe to us, please. Push the button, and since we have a special guest tonight,
Push it twice.
we gotta tell you.
Oh no!
Subscribe it. Push the button. Share it and push the button. Whatever you do, tell on a friend that we watch the Warriors United Fit Christ every Monday, 7:30 to 8:30.
I love how he code switch.
But anyway,
he code switch really well, doesn't he?
Anyway, we appreciate everyone coming. And let me do this. A special shout out to Sister Ruth from Transformation Church. She approached me on Sunday and said, Brother Simon, I watch your show on Mondays. I'm like, oh my God. My heart was like pumping really fast. Gave her a big hug and said, continue to do that. And she just said that, just tell them that they just need the Holy Ghost. But I hope she's watching. I love you. Appreciate you. That's your shout out.
Right. So tonight we have an exciting show entitled Are You Ready for Marriage? And tonight our 2 special guests happen to be our couples coordinators at the Transformation Church. How fitting to have them tonight to talk about Are You Ready for Marriage? So let's bring them on. Sharon.
We're back, guys.
Hello.
What's that?
Mom, cool runnings.
So Sharon, we definitely have to talk because you're telling me that you are related to Darius. We have to talk, but
Yes,
because he needs to listen to the show. He needs to listen to the show. But
yes, he does. I need to text him like, you need to listen. Let me text him and say, you need to get on this podcast.
You should text him right now. Darius, we're on the show. You need to, Pastor Rupert is on it. You need to be on it too. So, okay. So
only because you're on the show? What about us?
No, because he used to come to my church. That's what he come to.
That's what Roxy said. Roxy was like, he probably know you Darius.
No, in honesty,
Anyway, hey, look. Sean Francis, Talia Burrell, Edward Lassane Sr. Thank you. They greeted us. That's why they're saying hi. Thank you.
And the 12 of you that are logged on, God bless you. And thank you for joining us tonight. Amen.
You can call us out there when you was 12 of them. You should have said, because the folks.
Well, it's 12 of them right now. Maybe more. I just don't know.
You can be like, all you dozens,
all you hundreds of people, thank you for watching the show. Go tell your mom and them.
All right.
Roxy
lock them downstairs with Nana.
The babies.
The gates, yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, Sharon.
Yes.
Tonight, we're talking about, are you ready for marriage? What would you say to those who may be going down that road? Speaking of when you were in the process of getting married, which is how many years have it been for you now?
How many?
Yeah.
How many you say?
How many years?
It's been 13 in July.
13. All right.
Well, wait a minute, Sharon.
Yes.
If Roxy took that long, he would have been in trouble.
No, I thought I thought he said 7 years. That's why I asked him what did he say?
Good,
'Cause I
good,
wanted to
good,
show
good
him.
cover up. Good
I
cover
said,
up.
I said
Yeah.
how many years?
Good cover up.
13.
Go
So-
ahead.
What would
13.
what would you say to someone who's about to go down that road if you ask that question, are you ready for marriage? What would you say to them?
I would say to them that they really need to know who they are. I don't think that you should go into the marriage not knowing who you are, because it's like you're going in as one whole person, hopefully, because there are a lot of people that go in broken, and he's coming in whole as well. So I want to make sure that I know myself in order for me to really be able to put forth 100% in my marriage. So it was very important for me to kind of like let certain things go and just focus on what God had planned for me and the type of man that I wanted in my life.
What about you, Roxy?
Yeah, so for me, excuse me, I'll tell a person that first thing, you need to know who you are. First thing. Second, are you ready for marriage in the sense of how you can deal with the next person in your life, right? So I would say, well, you probably need to start do the work before you even think about getting married. In terms of preparing yourself, like learn how to be independent and take care of your responsibilities. So when somebody is in your life, you can be able to deal with that. If you're a spiritual person, right, you should be able to usher in that person also in your spiritual circle, your spiritual life, so you both can be on one accord. And
Yeah.
it's a number of things that you have to do as a person, individual. As for me, I'm going to use myself as an example. When I was single, because I like to use myself as an example. So when I was single, I remember at my church, former church back home, one of the deacons, he would say that your singleness time is a time when you use that to prepare for getting married. Okay, so therefore you're going to make sure that you have certain things in line, like knowing how to be responsible, take care of your bills, being able to take care of you also by yourself, right? So when you get into a marriage, right, you're not going to just leave everything on that partner. You're going to work as a team, but therefore you know how to do some certain things, like as a man, learn to cook. Men need to learn to cook to help themselves. As a Jamaican, that's a big part of how I always grew up. So Ron and I start, there's things that I established to us, and listen, I can do all these things. So it makes our work easier and our relationship easier.
The question is, does he still cook now?
Oh no, that's one of the
Yeah. Okay.
That's the question now. That's when you dating, that's another story. But
he trying to get that extra car oil on the chicken or in the curry joint.
We get a special Christmas meal and call it a day.
Yeah, but it's an individual thing where you have to make sure you yourself are ready for that before you really go down that road.
So I agree. I think that knowing yourself, being independent, but I think one of the major things for me, at least, is the person. If you're not happy about who you are or happy within yourself,
true,
I think you're going to make it. Because I always tell people I should never depend on anybody for my happiness.
Yeah,
that's right.
If I can't be happy alone with my Lord and just me, if I depend on somebody else to be happy, then you're going to have issues, because that person sometimes not going to make you happy. They're going to make you sad.
Yeah,
and you have to be happy within yourself. And I remember, just even preaching the fact that the joy of the Lord and happiness are two different things. They're two different things. Don't get the joy of the Lord and happiness mixed together. When you have joy, it's one thing. Being happy means that I am able to laugh and be with myself.
Yeah.
Read a book, watch TV, sit outside and look at the stars. and be content with who I am. So I think that's what you mean by being independent also, if I gather.
Yeah, you're right.
But I think-
Enjoying it's like you're enjoying your own company, you know,
Yeah.
your own self with no one around, you know, feeling happy.
But it also stems into emotional maturity. You know, there's a lot of people in this world that's not emotionally mature in order to go into a relationship and handle disagreements and handle things that may come along with marriage that you may not have put into your index cards to say, oh, this may happen, this may happen, this may happen. So a lot of times when you're in when you're preparing for a marriage, I would ask myself, am I emotionally mature enough to be in a relationship with this person? If anything breaks down, am I mature enough to say, all right, this part is breaking down right now, but you know what, we're mature enough to handle this situation. So I think that's very important as well. Are you emotionally mature?
Well, I like those comments because looking at me, you know, I was independent. Even though I was still living at home, I was still independent. I knew how to pay my bills. I knew how to do my finance. I knew how to do such and such. So when it was time for me to start looking for someone, at first it wasn't to find that person to marry. It was to find that person, get to know them. Mm-hmm. And once I had a better relation with them, then the question of marriage came along. It wasn't like, as soon as I meet you, can we get married? It wasn't like that. No.
Yeah.
Because you got to know the person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some people jump into it head first and don't know what they're getting into.
Absolutely.
You have to know the person before you marry them.
That's because you're not Jamaican apostolic. In Jamaica, my daddy, you're not talking to nobody unless you try to report that person.
Wait a minute. No. The first time, if you're in the church, let me say like Roxy or myself and Jamaicans, the first time you talk to a female, y'all marry her, you love her.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. That's too much. Let's start a talk. It's wedding next. When is the wedding?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He said, you gonna marry her? How many children? I want to see them.
Put under pressure.
You better be undercover.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because I remember one service we were having at 16th Street, and Anita and I just had to be sitting next to each other, and Bishop Burroughs caught the pulpit and goes, Minister Brodus, is that your wife you sitting next to? We weren't even thinking about that.
That's how you know people dating at church when they start sitting next to each other. Yeah, that's how you know people dating at church.
Right.
That's a telltale sign, boy.
Never seen them together before. And
we see that now. We see that now.
Yeah.
Hey, and you start talking in church going, hey, did you see that? Oh, wow. That's 2 Sundays in a row now. What?
Oh, you see him walking her to her car. That's her boyfriend.
Yeah. So they don't sit in church together.
And no matter how black they are, when you see them at a restaurant by accident, you catch them and they get all shy. They're like, oh my God.
That's how it was
like the paparazzi.
It was with me and Roxy. We were on a date. We was at the movie theater. I'm like, out of all people, Stephen Lawrence sees us at a movie theater. And we coming down, and he's like, your secret's safe with me. I ain't gonna say nothing.
Exactly. I ain't gonna tell nobody.
I ain't telling nobody.
Yeah, that is so funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you think the mistake some people make?
Before he says the mistake, because this is we have someone on our show who always says when a couple get together, you should the first question you should ask him is, how's your credit?
Oh God.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
They know I'm telling the truth. Yes. That's his first question.
I would not ask that person how's your credit.
Me? You talking to me? Are they asking us that question?
No.
A comment was made. That should be a question you should ask.
You should ask the person.
I definitely think you should ask about finances to see how they're doing. I was very honest with Roxy. I'm like, I got student loans, and
but you didn't tell me your credit score.
But I mean, that's what
I ain't telling my credit score, but I was just like, yeah, these student loans is taking over my life right now. So I just want to let you know. But that's something that you have to be open with.
I agree with
eventually, yes. Okay.
Yeah, but that doesn't dictate whether or not
You
you're
should
going
marry
to
somebody.
get married. Like,
Yes,
No.
yes.
if people think that, oh my God, your credit score is horrible, I can't marry you now. Like, that is what he's talking about. We're saying
Exactly.
that it's okay to know if the person has good credit or bad credit, but if that makes your decision, that's not good, because somebody could have been going through something, have bad credit, and now they're improving it or going to improve it. And I think there's other factors that maybe be more important than your credit score.
I mean,
I've been told that doctors and attorneys have the worst credit.
Say that, Elder Bros again.
I've been told that doctors and attorneys have the worst credit because of all the loans they got. So,
yeah. But I think that all stems into maturity as well, because I mean, you don't have to like get married right away. That can give someone the opportunity to get their credit in order before you even get married, you know? Right. So that would take a lot of conversation to say, you know what, I do love you and I really want to be a part of your world, but finances are very important to me. And so in marriage, you have to have those important conversations in order for it to even work out even a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that financing, who pays the bills, how you're going to levy the bills, things like that. What are your goals when it comes to different things, right? Mm-hmm. House, cars, jobs, where you're going to go to move, when you have kids, I think all those, because life unfortunately revolves around finances.
Yeah, it does.
And if you don't have compatibility on how to speak to finances or how you think about finances, it could cause tremendous trouble. Mm-hmm. But if you love somebody, like you said, I'd rather have that conversation and say, look, I'm not going to say I don't want to marry you, but I need you to do better.
Yeah.
That's the conversation. This is not, I don't want any part with you. Look at the kind of car you're driving. No way. I mean, that's tough.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people are just not taught, right? So that man or that woman may not have been taught by their parents or someone close to them how to actually steward money. So if you're coming into your life as a helpmate, right? I'm coming into your life as a wife. You're coming into my life as my husband. If you're good at finances, let's make a plan.
Right.
Right?
Right.
No, because he's looking at me because I'm the spender. I'm the spender. He's the saver.
Pray for me.
Sean, how many Amazon boxes you got outside your house?
Oh my God. Amazon.
Every day, right? Every day.
I'm like, what? She said she don't have any money. And I've seen Amazon truck pull up. My name has never been on any of those backs. What are you buying? She talking about she buy all this stuff from these. I'm like,
but they're really cheap, Roxy. I mean, they're not expensive.
Well, you're right about that. You're right about that.
That's what I hear. No, that's what I hear.
I'm a person that I'm like spend, but I'll go to the thrift store and spend.
Yeah, when it comes to finances, I'm very conscious about that. You know, and so I get that type of the responsibility for that end of handling that portion of our relationship. You know,
well, Sharon, you said something earlier which made perfectly good sense. When you're having that conversation, speaking of family, do you want to have kids? Because you may have one spouse who wants it and one doesn't. And that's that true. Right there can bring about I don't know about that. You know, so that brings about a major family dynamics in the conversation is so crucial.
Sure.
Yeah, it's true. You got to have all those conversations in order to be ready. And I was a believer that if we're not agreeing on 9 out of 15 things or 9 out of 12 things, I don't think that we should do that. Can you unlock the door so they can get the baby bottle?
Go lock the door, Roxy. Please. We don't want the baby to come out.
We have a couple questions. Let's get to some of them.
Yeah.
I think it's a good question.
Okay.
You guys want to read it?
Sure. Okay, I got you. I got my glasses today.
Oh, you're right.
Good.
I can see. Yes. My eyes are new. No. Do you feel that the first major disagreement is a test of the stability of the marriage? And for those who are not completely rooted in Christ, there's a question there. How do you recover?
You can answer that one, babes. Go ahead.
You can.
Let me say it slowly for you, Roxy. Do you
Yeah.
feel that the first major disagreement, your first argument or disagreement, is a test of stability of your marriage? The first one.
Yeah, okay. How do I approach it? Okay, so the first major, I can't pinpoint any major disagreement. However, how I approach our relationship is like, I'm not the person who likes conflict. You know, I believe that anything we should be able to talk about stuff and don't go to bed angry and anything like that. So I let it know upfront that just run like, listen, if we have an issue, let's talk about it. No matter what it is, let's talk about it. Even though there are times when I may be going through a situation and I don't really express myself, she can tell by my demeanor or I may be conducting myself, and then she will talk to me and I let you know what's going on. You know, but how we handle our disagreement, we talk, right? And we express how we feel. Right? We're not gonna fight or we're not gonna say anything because I told her that I do not like to always constantly apologizing.
Yeah.
I do not like to apologize for petty stuff. So therefore, I chose my words carefully in our relationship when we're talking. So if I'm upset and we're talking about something that we don't really see eye to eye on, I go slow and I think before I say anything, because at the end of the day, if I say something that offend her, I don't want to be coming back just to apologize, you know, and it's already been said. That's one thing you cannot erase.
Yeah.
Because even though you apologize, she may accept your apology, but probably down the road, you know, women sometimes can carry things with them. That
And bring it back up.
That time,
And bring it back up.
I will
So
never go
therefore,
against the
I'm
word
not
of God.
talking about her.
I will never go against the
Yeah,
word of
but-
God and harbor our feelings in my heart.
But I'm just saying for our couples out there, you know, I think one thing you should do, choose your words carefully, because words, they always said words cut, you know, deep. And when you say something to somebody, either can be motivate them or make them feel less than a person. So I always choose my words carefully. So as we have 13 years now, and we never have a fight where Sharon can feel like, oh, I really make her feel like she's nothing, you know.
Yeah.
She can't tell.
But Rox, the question though is that first disagreement
Yes.
a test of stability? So that first, because you have disagreements, but I always say when you put the ring on your finger, it's a different weight. So when you have that first disagreement, is it testing the stability of the marriage, or is it just that's nothing? You'll be tested further down the line.
To be honest, I'm sorry, baby. To be honest, I think that is testing. It could test the stability as well as the growth. How are the two people growing in this relationship? Even though you may have gotten married last Tuesday, right? How am I growing with this person, even in this small amount of time? Am I able to listen to what he says and actually retain it? Because I think a lot of times as women, we already have preset in our mind what should be happening, right? So sometimes we may maybe jump the gun a little bit instead of just listening. And for the men as well, we may not listen. We may not have good listening skills, where he may be saying one thing, I'm saying a totally different thing, but we're all both saying the same thing. So I think that with the first major agreement is really testing our stride, testing where we are in this relationship. And some people, and it all stems back to emotional stability.
Yeah.
It all stems on whether or not you're able to handle the conversation that is before you, and how you recover from that. I think you have to be committed to growth. You have to be committed to saying, okay, I don't like what you said here, but at the same time, I have to try to understand what you're saying. Can you say it a different way so I can receive it? Because like Roxy knows how to talk to me, right? Like if you're a person that is like talk at me, I'm not going to hear you. I'm going to ignore everything that you say. And I probably get an attitude at that. But Roxy knows how to talk to me kindly. He knows how to talk to me to get me to hear what he's saying. So I think that comes with knowing who you are, the person that you're dating. All stems back to Elder Brodus. You have to know the type of person that person is.
Exactly.
If that person is a blunt person, then you have to be okay with that. If the person you have to pull information out of, when we first started dating, I had to pull information out of Roxy, but now he just gives it to me freely when he's ready.
Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, it's it can be a sense of stability, right? Because it's just the stability of the relationship, and it all depends on. I think sometimes depends on how
Sorry, Sharon.
maturity. It depends on how mature the person or the persons are in the relationship, because you may be married for years and still have issue. You're just young married, and it's still you just don't know the person that well. So we are growing to learn each other as you go along. And as I say, things gonna happen. You're gonna say things and it's gonna rock the boat, but it's how you say it and how you relate to each other. So it takes that person individual. It's an individual thing as to how you deal person. And those things should be at least you work on those things about yourself before you really get involved. Get serious with somebody that you can say, well, this is how I can handle stress or conflict. Those things should have been discussed.
So one of the mistakes, or I'm gonna go do my little English thing in a minute. One of the mistakes also is you both have two different characters, and one, I'm not saying you two, one tries to change the other person's character the way they want it to be. Which to me is a mistake.
Yep.
Because that's two different people trying to get together. You can understand each other, have a relationship with each other, but still be who you are, like you said at the very beginning. And instead of trying to change somebody to how you want them to be, or you might want to, the lady might want them to be like their dad, or or they're like their mom, or whatever, which is a mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I'm sorry, Mark. Were you gonna say something?
No, because we were talking about I think the greatest argument and disagreement we had was 35 years ago, was the guest list for our wedding. That was the only argument we've ever. I mean, it was pretty rough, and was like, but we were able to compromise.
Yeah.
Because we realized, we had to trim the fat, so to speak, and say, okay, we got to go, because that gave us stability in our relationship, because if we could get over that little thing, which was me was blown up. It was blown up. We could hurt. And it was funny when we had our 35th reunion. Guess what our discussion was? That guest list again. I said, oh no, we did that 35 years ago. We're not doing this time.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
I think they're part of what I look at, especially when I counsel young folks about to get married. I always say to them, if you, like you said, if you know your feelings are going to be hurt, you may not be ready for marriage.
Correct.
Because there are going to be times when you are going to disagree and something might be said, but you always have to remember the person that's saying it loves you very much.
Yeah.
They make mistakes too. And if you're not willing to say, okay, a mistake was made, and like you said, you don't like saying you're sorry, Roxy. I don't mind saying I'm sorry. But I'll say I'm sorry. But now you have to accept it. If you accepted my sorry, now here we go. Here comes the next time someone comes around. You see what you did? You did it. Things can't happen. You got to be willing to accept the person apology. You got to be willing to move on, because there's so many mountains and hills you're going to have to climb.
Yeah.
If you let those past ones stay, you are going to be climbing up rocks.
Yes, it's true. It's definitely true. It's definitely
yes. So let me throw this in here. Okay, I did it in the other angle. I am doing this today. I want everybody to press the subscribe button, the share button, and the like button. We are very good family here. We want everybody to be pushing the buttons so we can spread the word around. I appreciate everybody. Thank you very much. We love everyone who's pushed the button today. Thank you.
Man, let's get to the second part of this question, because
go ahead.
Good question. The second part was when you have that argument, right? And those are not complete. I don't think it makes a difference if you're completely rooted in Christ or not. I think if you have that argument, how do you recover when now somebody's broken? Because sometimes, like we said, somebody's broken. How do you recover from that?
Well, remember I said earlier, we learned to compromise when it came to that list, because we were not going to allow that situation hinder us from going forward. That conversation has to be like you said earlier, Sharon, how Roxy knows how to talk to you. You got to know how to talk to the person you're involved with, because your tone has to be a certain way. You can't be, no, it can't be nothing like that. It has to be.
That's not going to work for me.
It's not going to work. So you have to talk. You have to talk with logic, and you got to talk with some sense to bring about resolution.
But also, at least you saw that how you talk to him, how he talks to you, and thank you. That's so nice. And I mean, how you can say that? At least you recognized how he changed to talk to you. Absolutely. And the way you talk back, and you can go from there.
And communication grows from that point.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and if the person also have to recognize that they make a mistake or they say something offensive, and are willing to apologize and accept that they did wrong. So both of you can come to amends and move on. If you're still fighting, and toe to toe with each other, then that's gonna make matters worse.
And somebody have to say sorry.
Yeah.
And I think what comes into it is pride.
Yep.
Yes.
Pride comes into it, because I'm not saying sorry because what he said to me was just out of control. What she said to me, I don't like. But at the end of the day, y'all are trying to reach an ultimate goal of just being one, right? So if you have to say sorry, and then try to build from there. But if no one says sorry, y'all are all going to still be in a different room. You're going to still just be looking at each other funny.
Sleep in the basement.
Sleep in the basement. And it's just like,
if you have a basement,
right?
You be on the porch
or the garage.
Sleep on the patio, sleep on the patio.
Yeah. Right. Let's get to the next.
Next question. Ernell Lawrence.
Oh, you were doing it in Jamaican?
Yes. Ernell said, one should be prepared to have a lot of mutual understanding moments during marriage.
Yes.
Amen to that.
Yes. Lots of them.
Yes, Elder Lawrence. That is very true.
That's true.
Yes.
And especially coming from different cultures. Like I'm American.
Oh, yes.
Roxy's Jamaican.
Oh, yes.
There's just certain things that I'm just like, now say what now? What?
I know what you're talking about.
And he be saying what to me. He be saying what to me. And I'm just like, okay, so we gotta figure this out.
But when you say that, it's so true, because as I said earlier, that I was single for many years, and I did my house in my mind as to how it used to be. And when I got married, it's a different world. I am now trying to fit her into my world here, so I don't have to rearrange stuff.
Because he's like, why is that put right there? That's where I put it.
Why is that? And so I find myself at a place where I'm like, what? I have to come back to reality and say, well, okay, this is my wife, and she don't do things the way I do things. And so now I have to accept, and now I have to stop do that and let things be. And it works.
But Roxy, that's like
I'll be driving myself nuts.
13 years later, he knows.
Because when I
have props around here, he's gonna have wigs around here. He's gonna have weave. He's gonna have
so all that neatness is gone right there like that. So no, I'm doing
neatness.
Not that we're disordered, but we're organized and we work together.
Because I don't know.
I'm not getting gray. I'm not stressing anymore because it's
Roxy, you can't get gray. You're bald.
You see how he's bald by choice. He is bald by choice.
Yes. Yes. No, but Roxy, like you were saying, Roxy.
Yeah.
But I'm coming from England, and the things that you say you do different, and then I'll be sitting down at breakfast. I might have Weetabix or shredded wheat, and I'll warm up the milk or make the milk hot, and they're like, "What are you doing?"
Yes.
I'm heating up myself. Ew! We don't, because over here everything is cold milk. I'm like, no.
We drink warm stuff.
Exactly. So I mean, understanding that now, of course, it's a joke every time it's being done. So,
but that's part of the cultural thing. But even in the midst of, because we're all Christians, right? But
Yeah.
there's a different level of Christianity sometimes when you come together, how you were raised.
Yeah.
Some folks were just under strict, right? And some folks were, no, we're Christians, but this is how we were raised.
Yeah.
And when you get together, your thought process sometimes is, no, we go to church every Sunday 4 times a week and we're going there. And you're like, no, I go to church on Sunday, Tuesday. Don't get me wrong. And you have to compromise. You can't just say it's my way or the byway.
Yeah.
And that's what really happens when couples begin to marry, when they begin to say it's my way or it's no go. It can't be. I think that compromise, that conversation has to happen. So I think it's important. There's some other things. Where am I? Here, this one.
Should couples counsel before marriage be mandatory, and why?
Yes.
Yes.
Listen.
And why?
I'm an advocate. I'm an advocate for couples counseling prior to marriage. I'm an advocate for it because there was a lot of things. The Paces was our marriage counselors. Big up to Sister Paulette.
Big up to both of them. Yes.
But anyway, I love them because they allowed us to look at situations differently when we were discussing our topics and different things like that. And I think that if a lot of couples who are about to get married have marriage counseling, I think they would find out whether or not they're compatible. And I think they would find out whether or not they should get married at all. And some people just should not be married because they're not compatible. And I think that counseling helps them to recognize the signs, because sometimes people ignore the red flags. But I think with someone outwardly looking in, they're able to have a neutral type of view of you guys and say, hey, listen, y'all just are not compatible. Because the Paces was like, listen, from the time we sat down, the first thing they were like, hey, we will tell y'all by the middle or the end of this on whether or not we feel that you guys are compatible. And if we feel that you guys are compatible, of course you have the decision to still get married. But at the end of the day, we're going to tell you that we don't think that you're compatible. Which I think
part has to be, you have to be honest too when you're going through the counseling. If you're just going to answer questions because you're trying to answer the way you think the person wants to hear, the counseling doesn't work. You have to be honest, and sometimes you have to say things the other person is going to react to.
Yeah,
but that's part of now how do you resolve this? And I think it's important.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Question.
Says, how important is it to establish a friendship before a love relationship is formed? Very important.
Very,
very important, because you're friends first before you become anything else.
Yeah, you could take them roller skating and ice skating.
Put them on roller coasters, and they love them. Then after you get married, they say they don't like them anymore.
Go bike riding together.
While you're dating, they love roller coasters, but after you get married, I'm afraid of ice.
Okay, so let me give you my problem. Right. So when me and Viv were dating, she asked me, well, I know you're a pastor, but I said, you know what? Don't worry about it. Every quarter we're going to go somewhere. Don't worry about it. We're going to travel someplace every quarter. I blew that a long time ago. And she reminds me,
all right,
I feel bad because it was something that I said as friends. This is what I want to do because
yeah, I remind Roxy about stuff all the time.
I don't remember that.
I'm like,
I don't remember I said that.
It's
time for us to go on our monthly date. I've been on a date in a while. We got these 2 kids.
Life is life. It's life.
But you got to make time for it, man.
But that's where the expectation versus reality has to come together, and you both have to adjust.
Yes.
Right? I have to adjust and say, okay, we've got to do something.
Yes.
She asked me to say it's not going to be every month or every quarter, but we're doing something. But if you just don't do anything, that can now cause a rift. And I think that, again, somebody's saying pride is a problem, right? So when you come into the marriage, because I think somebody said, I was reading something that said expectations should be openly discussed. And I think so too, but I think that they have to be fluid.
Yes.
Right? They can't be stagnant. I expect you, but if you can't do it, I have to find a way to see how it will work out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Make
I
an
agree.
effort, you know.
I
Okay.
agree with that.
Okay. Next one.
Okay, this is from the Broders family. I think I better start reading the next ones from the because they're getting him. Should men and women make lists about what they like in potential spouse? And should a list matter at all? What do you think?
Holly, I made my list, honey. I made my list. I made my list and I put it in my Bible. Now, which Bible is in? I can't find it no more. I guess it was a holy Bible. It disappeared once Roxy came home. But I did. My Nana told me, she said, because I was at a place where I was like, I was tired of dating the little Baltimore thugs. And I was just like, you know, God, I just need a good man that loves the Lord. What do you want me to do? So
Jamaican thug.
My Nana told me to put a list together and put it in the Bible and just let it sit there and just have faith that, you know, God is going to deliver. And I did that, and I made my list. And he had to be kind. He had money. Money is like not an object of like arguments and problems. You know what I'm saying? Like I wrote a whole list. Handsome. You know, like everything.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't.
And look. Wait a minute. As much as I've heard Sharon in all the couples that we've been to. She's always said that you was handsome, good looking all the time. She said it.
Me?
Yeah.
Who's she talking to?
Turn around and look at the brick wall, man. Look at the brick wall behind you.
But Sharon, it's funny saying.
Listen, I was just busy working. Mind my own business.
At Uncle Benno shop.
Oh, okay.
But
so Sharon, Anita and I, we went out on our very next to our second or third date. We were at a Chinese restaurant. And my girl had a list of questions. Mm-hmm. She asked me all these questions, which of course I answered honestly. And I didn't feel like I was being attacked. I felt it very intriguing that she was going to ask me all these particular questions, which I was like, okay.
I asked him questions, and I got all my questions from Think Like a Man from Steve Harvey.
Oh my gosh!
I don't think she got hers from Think Like a Man. I don't know where she got hers from.
And it worked. Thanks, Steve Harvey.
Oh God!
Oh my Lord!
Let's go to the next question, please.
Stephanie says it's also important to be friends first. Because if there is an argument, you won't go for the jugular.
Yes,
because you don't want to hurt your friend.
That's definitely true, Stephanie. You're right about that.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. he ain't reading this, but I'm going to read it. So Anita, she said, don't be in a rush to get married. Give yourself enough time to learn the person's behavior even before contemplating marriage. After Mark and I announced our engagement, I watched him.
Oh, watch it. Watch wise. Go ahead, Sister Anita.
And the part two is it's important to observe someone's behavior when the saints aren't around. If Mark didn't act right, I wasn't even gonna return the ring.
I was going to return the ring. That's right, Sister Anita. That's because that's their integrity, right?
Exactly.
You want to make sure that they have the right integrity, especially if you want them being father of your children. You want them to be your husband, a kind, loving, God-fearing man. I'm gonna need him to be acting right when we outside of church.
I think so, and it's the same for the woman also. I think she
very good, Roxy.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I was very serious about that because I'm very particular, you know, and if you're cursed, you may pot him out, smoke certain things.
Ignore the eyes, man. Ignore the eyes. Come on, say it.
The things that I don't really do, I don't think you should be doing that because it's not like we're compatible in that sense because I don't smoke. So if you're a smoker, drinking like that and smoking, I mean, it's not gonna work. Period. It's not gonna work for me. So if I know that we're friends and I realize that you do these things before we go say I do, we're not gonna make it to that left that journey because
well, hopefully she was already in the church and she wasn't in the church doing all that.
I don't know.
I don't know.
This
Prior to me, it was kind of a little shaky there.
If the person's not in the church, then you understand. But if the person in the church, that even make it worse.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah.
And I would add this is that I think you were saying it before, Sam, right? Don't try to change the person. If the person was a church goer, they went 7 nights a week when you married them, don't all of a sudden think they're going to go 2 nights because you married them and get all mad now because you knew you married them at that point.
Yes.
And now you wanted to, if they're on the choir, if they usher, so they got to go and do their thing. They they get up at 9 o'clock to go to church. And now you want to get up at 10 o'clock. And you can't do that. You have to, you married this person who was this way. Embrace them even after you're married. And that's why watching them, being friends with them, understanding them is important before you get married.
Yes, definitely.
It definitely is, yes.
Being on time.
You can see the red flags.
This is coming from Kenya. It is 4 o'clock in the morning.
Isn't it 4 o'clock in the morning?
Wow.
4 o'clock in the morning. This is my buddy. So he's saying, knowing when you want to marry someone often comes from a combination of feeling deeply connected, enjoying their company, and sharing a vision for the future. It's about more than just romantic love. It's about trust, mutual respect, and a sense of peace and happiness within the relationship.
Yes.
More.
Agree.
As Christians, prayer plays a very big role. Since it's God who knows everything, even the hidden ones, he will help reveal the true characters.
That's true. Because you don't, when we got married, we didn't know what trials and tribulation that was before us, right? And so it's important that you actually enjoy that person's company and have a sense of peace, of happiness. Because if I wasn't happy when we were going through all the fertility things, I could have just said, you know what, I'm not happy here, I'm leaving. But since we enjoyed this, being with the foundation that we built and all of those things, we were able to get through all of that, and still have fun, still smile, still laugh, still have our moments of sadness. But at the same time, we're still loving on each other because we actually enjoy each other, you know?
Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
And Stephanie says, I also do recommend falling in love with potential. Can you live with them the way that they are currently? If not, you may want to rethink the relationship.
That's true.
Potential will fail you every time because you want to see what that person actually is, not what the potential. I mean, potential, I would say 75-25. 75-25. And the only reason why I say that is because Roxy had potential, right? Can I tell you business? A little bit? You're a U.S. citizen now. Go ahead. So
he's wearing the American shirt.
When we got married,
he's not going to come and get him.
And the only reason why I say potential 75-25, I saw the potential in Roxy. He was a hard worker. He was kind. He was all of these things that I really, really desired in a person that I was going to marry. But also, he wasn't a permanent resident. He was flying under the radar. He was doing all of these things where I'm like, should I or should I not? I see the potential in him, but at the same time, there's certain blocks that may hinder us in the future that I may not really like. But that 25% of that potential made me say, you know what, I'm going to take a chance on him because I can see the 75% of potential that he has. So I just think that, yes, we shouldn't fall in love totally with the potential, but there has to be some type of action that's showing you that potential that you see will produce fruit.
Yeah, I think potential. I think everybody marries on potential.
Yeah,
you never know. You just don't know.
You don't know.
And
yeah,
you always have an expectation. You think you may know. You have a good feel, but you pretty much marry on potential. I marry you because potentially you're going to be a good wife or a good husband, a good father, a good mother, so forth and so on. So I think that but there's levels of what you want in your potential. I think that's what you're looking at, right?
Yeah.
he has a job, she has a job, and they have this, they have this. Well, they're missing this, but I can see them doing the right thing to get there, and he or she speaks to that.
Yeah.
So I think that's something we have to be careful of. But I think that everybody does it anyway.
So potential must be the buzzword for tonight, because Holly comes back and says one thing I think everyone should keep in mind is okay to make a list of desired characteristics in a potential spouse. But one must also possess or work to possess the same qualities. Continue. Where we at?
Addendum.
No, I'm looking on this addendum. It's unfair to desire something of someone that you're not striving for as well. I can expect my husband, Who? My husband.
Oh boy.
That's right, Holly. That's right.
If I'm not also working to be patient, for example. Holly said husband?
Right. Yes.
That's big.
That's
I'll
true,
let you guys talk to. That's actually, that last point's big.
It's
Absolutely.
very big.
Very big. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
I'll be here. I got your back, Holly.
Yeah, but because if you're not willing to work on certain things yourself, like I always say, you have to look at yourself. If you're not willing to work on it yourself, how can you expect him or her to do it if you're not willing to do it? And you always got to be willing to make that sacrifice if you want that person to make the sacrifice. And that goes in any relationship, whether it's marriage, friendship, leadership in the church, whatever it may be. If you're not willing to make that sacrifice, don't expect somebody else. Yes, thank you. I saw it. Yeah.
That's great, Holly.
Yeah,
Very good.
We got 2 minutes.
But patience is very important. I think kids teach you that. Kids teach you patience. And that's one thing I always had an issue with.
Patience too. Spouses teach you patience too.
I think kids do more though.
Yeah,
kids. These wives, we be getting them phone calls like, now where you said at the store you wanted me to get now? And we done sent the pictures. We done sent.
Text it to me.
We done sent everything.
Text it to me.
And y'all still asking.
Wow, you went there, Sharon. Wow.
Yeah.
Where the thing is at the store.
But the truth is, men's minds work different from ladies' minds.
Exactly.
That's right.
She's an helpmate. See, she's an helpmate, so I have to call her.
That's it. Just help me. Help you.
Hey, look, guys, thank you for being on the show tonight.
Help me to understand all that Amazon not be coming in the front door.
Hey, guys, thanks
Amazon
for being on the show. Hey, thank you. Next week, when we're talking about world events, so tune in next week. We'll talk about what's going on
Woo, Lord have mercy.
overseas.
Yes.
And stay tuned to hear what we got to say about that. And you might just hear us say,
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Love you, Roxy. Love you.
stay on, Sharon.
Don't go nowhere.
Stay on, guys.
All right, bye.